Shame. 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 Shame.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans, droids, all of you Candy Moody Coneheads with those massive foreheads, and of course, creepy looking plagueis people lurking in the shadows for reasons we may never know because of budget constraints. And of course, we got to give a special shout out to all of you beautiful Wookiees out there with supercharged Omicrons standing on the line, protecting your fellow Sith Lords. I don't really represent the Sith, but I'm assuming they're saluting all of you out there today. People, I'm excited for this video. We've been kind of waiting to finally get some data, hard data, on how this Zaalbar Omicron, Omniscience Guardian, is performing in the real world in 3v3 Grand Arena. We have that today. I'm going to show some other gameplay, and I got some graphics highlighting how this is doing on offense and defense, and maybe get some suggestions as to what you should be doing with this Omicron. So people, I need you guys to feel supercharged like Darth Revan has been with this Omicron. Smash the like button because we got a lot to go over today. So people, come on over. Let's have a chat, and we're going to try our best to answer the question. Should you use this on offense or defense? Well, it's kind of a tough question to answer. How about we start off with some offensive discussions first? I have a variety of gameplay and graphics I want to show that try to summarize as best as possible what this is doing out there. And why don't we start off with the offensive side of things? So here's a little graphic I put together highlighting Darth Revan on offense versus a lot of commonplace things out there. And we're going to do a little shame segment here. Remember, Darth Revan and Zaalbar, the Omicron turns off if you're going to try to fight Galactic Legends. So you're going to be like, Arnold, where's all the Galactic Legend data? Well, guess what? In 3v3, if there's a Galactic Legend enemy, you don't get the Omicron. So keep that in mind. But what we're seeing on offense, things like Great Mothers. But to be fair, Darth Revan is already kind of a Great Mother counter without Zaalbar. It seems a lot simpler, cleaner with Zaalbar and Darth Revan. A really easy dunk on Reva. Ooh la la, my friends. That's a big ticket item right there. I mean, yes, Revan could kind of counter Reva before with the help of Malgus and Malik, but you don't need him anymore. He's grown. He's a big kid now. Maybe some Star Killer stuff seems to be decent. And, you know, we kind of see some other things that might be of interest when it comes to offense. Like, you know, a lot of people see Zoris. We have ways of handling her, though, already. You know, 81% against General Skywalker, which used to be the hard counter to Darth Revan. My, how the tables have turned, how the turn have tabled. Maybe things like Dark Moff Gideon, but we also have some other interesting things, like maybe taking out Malicos on defense. Maybe Saw Gerreras with Luthans. Those are good things, but there are limitations to this power. It's looking like it's going to be kind of hit or miss up against his fellow Sith Empire. Darth Malgus might make this a bit challenging, and things like Queen Amidala, Trey with Savage, which I personally experienced with Balin, seem to be out of the picture for Darth Revan. A lot more complicated, barring any sort of wild datacron. So let's go ahead and roll some gameplay of this. It's just some organic gameplay of people inside the physical 3v3 Grand Arena. Now, if you want a lot more gameplay of Darth Revan in 3v3, there's a card in the top right-hand corner. The data miners have their own little fun test build they've made, and there's a lot more gameplay. I wanted to show you some gameplay that's out there in the wild from our fellow members in our Galaxiers community, showing you something a bit more organic and really kind of give us an idea what this looks like in offense. And as we see right here, beating Reva, that is nothing to scoff at here. That's a big ticket item. Beating Saw Luthen, maybe not as consistent as Reva. That is another big ticket item. That's great to see Darth Revan have inside of his portfolio. The biggest problem, though, there's pros and cons as we're going to discuss. Should you use it on offense and defense? The biggest con is, well, you're automatically losing banners right at the very beginning if you're using Darth Revan, because mission, she's got to sacrifice herself to feed all those juicy stats to your Zaalbar, to your Darth Revan. So that is something to keep in mind. Sort of Darth Bane-like, but sometimes Darth Bane can, you know, keep his minion with him, but most of the time we expect the minion to go away. So that is something to keep in mind when you're doing this. This is probably the biggest thing you're going to be seeing, is taking down Reva as kind of the biggest highlight. I kind of wish I knew, probably impractical, because the Queen's Decoy, very powerful tank, and if Revan can't get around that, you're going to have a problem. I think if you're someone that wants another powerful option to take out, I would say a majority of non-galactic legend teams, barring maybe, you know, things like Queen Amidala, Balin's, and maybe Bo-Katan's and whatnot, this is why you'd want to bring this on the offensive side. If you want a nice tool that's not quite a galactic legend, but sort of feels like it's in that ballpark of maybe a Reva, maybe in that ballpark of maybe like a Balin, or maybe another Darth Malgus, because it's nice now having the option, because Malgus in 33, he can do stuff on his own with him, Malik, maybe Bastila, Talon, whatever the case might be. It's nice to be able to take your Sith Empire, split it in two, and be able to beat a lot of non-galactic legend stuff out there. And let's make sure we do a quick Shane segment on this.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Reminder, I had a feeling a lot of people were going to do this. Apparently 337 people out there forgot the little detail about Darth Revan not working with Zaalbar up against Galactic Legends. In case you don't know, hey, you know what? It's okay. There's a lot of words in this game, and even myself, sometimes like, I don't want to read that. I just want to go in and see what happens. I totally vibe with that here. Remember, while in 3v3 Grand Arenas, if Darth Revan and Mission Val are allies, and there is no enemy Galactic Legend. Just to clarify, all these right here, they're Galactic Legends. Even contrary to popular belief that Lord Vader's not a Galactic Legend, he's a Galactic Legend still. So basically, don't expect any sort of new off-meta Galactic Legend counter with Zaalbar Omicron. It will not work. But 5v5, keep in mind, this is a little bit different than 5v5, and we're going to have to wait for that. Again, we have early access gameplay. If you're impatient, you want to see Karth gameplay with Zaalbar. There's a card in the top right-hand corner that shows a lot of stuff. Nothing organic yet because, well, we need a 5v5 Grand Arena. So keep in mind, a 5v5 Grand Arena, there is no clause that says if there's an enemy Galactic Legend. So this maybe has some potential with Karth, Zaalbar in 5v5 up against Galactic Legends. Can't promise much right now, but go check out that video if you want some early gameplay. If you can't wait. I need more Revan gameplay. And you want some more Revan gameplay? Why don't we go ahead and talk about next the defensive side of Darth Revan. So I kind of penciled in here few things. First and foremost, we're excluding Galactic Legends from this number because if you're using a Galactic Legend up against Darth Revan, that is a massive, massive win for whoever put the Darth Revan down on defense. We're seeing that when you look at the non-Galactic Legend spectrum, Revan, the characters going up against Revan, 43% win rate. So, if you flip that around, Revan's got a very positive defensive hold rate. That's another way of looking at it. Take 100 minus a 43, boom, that's your defensive hold rate. But more often than not, teams are losing against Darth Revan when he is on defense with the Zaalbar Omicron. However, nowhere near invincible, of course. We have some common counters as we're going to show here. Gungans, very important. Without the Phalanx, it's going to be a lot more consistent than Gungans with the Phalanx. So keep that in mind. We also have things like Malgus doing fairly well. Oddly enough, Qui-Gon Jinn, despite my experience, I'm going to give some more context to this data in a moment, seems to be doing okay up against Darth Revan. Balin Skull, easy dunk. Bo-Katan, easy dunk. Queen Amidala, easy dunk. Kind of replicating what we saw when Revan's on the offense, basically. Some other things that were kind of interesting. Commander Luke Skywalker, 63%. Not bad. And there's a couple different variations that may increase, decrease that win rate a little bit. Bane, obviously, if someone's throwing Bane, kind of a win for whoever's got the Revan on defense, right? If you can bait out a Bane, I would not recommend throwing Bane up against Darth Revan. Then we have things like Maul. We're going to show some gameplay of that. Maul seems to be doing okay. You might want to be careful of things like Traya, kind of a lowish win rate. Maliko's kind of a lowish win rate. Troopers. Now, I want to give some context to this data here. With this data that we're seeing here, this is considering a few things. It's taking all gear levels and relics. So some of these Revans might be low gear Revans, or low gear missions, low gear Zaalbars. There may or may not be Datacrons. I think the Troopers are going to have some bit of a love right now because there's a Datacron that gives them a lot of turn meters, so that might help out a little bit here. But for the most part, though the cheapest counters seem to be maybe Gungans, but keep in mind, Gungans, they're still a hot new team. They just came out barely a year ago, so if someone's bringing Gungans on offense to go up, let's say, up against your Revan, I think that's kind of a win. Let's roll some gameplay here. Checking out the Maul gameplay that we have from Connect 3PO. This is actually an interesting one. They get the fear, gets out there right away. Yeah, Maul gets slowed down, but it's really the Super Commando being able to get some massive counterattacks, nuking at the Zaalbar, and then you're down to just Revan. Easy money, honeys. And we're going to show something else with the defensive side that you want to keep in mind. I showed you the normal teams that people are trying to one-shot. There were a lot of people that were trying to just cheese their way through, and that's going to be a pro and a con at the same exact time. As we're going to mention, don't get too carried away. So on defense, when I'm looking at the stuff that's kind of commonplace, minus maybe the CLS, the Qui-Gon, the Maul thing kind of working, a lot of people are either throwing a Galactic Legend, they're throwing a very solid non-Galactic Legend team in it, or thirdly, they're just willing to sacrifice the battle, get the mission, knock her out, because Revan's going to sacrifice her at the very beginning of battle, take all the stats, and then the next battle when you follow up, Revan no longer has those stats for a mission. So some people don't even want to opt to throw either a good team like the Gungans, like the Balin, like the Bows, like the Malgus, and they'll just be like, you know what, I'll take the Lost Banners, I'll come in with something else, and Revan's going to be a lot more tame. So it's kind of putting people in this interesting situation. What do you want to do? And Grand Arenas nowadays, a lot of Grand Arenas come down to what? One drop battle, a few banners. And if Revan can just scare someone out of their underpants and just be like, yeah, you drop that battle. And then all of a sudden, that could be a win or a loss for a lot of people out there. So I know some people are like, oh, that could easily cheese through, but it's a drop battle. Drop battle's a drop battle. I don't care what you threw at it. I don't care what team it is. If you drop the battle, that gives a little bit of a leg up for the opponent who set that on defense. I personally probably would not be throwing, doing the cheese thing. I think we have a lot of ways of handling it, whether you just want to overkill it, throw a Galactic Legend, or check this out. 647 people. Basically, maybe they tried soloing with Wampa, horrible idea. Maybe tried soloing with Malik. But a grand majority of people, when you don't look at Galactic Legends, because again, Galactic Legends are going to be an easy win against Revan because the Omicron turns off, very much so like Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron turns off when there's a Galactic Legend. Wasn't always like that. They had to nerf him. Point aside, though, if someone's throwing a Galactic Legend, massive win. But you can see 647 people were just like, you know what? I just want to cheese it. I want to knock out the mission right away. Don't want to deal with her. And then the cleanup is going to be very simple. But 647 people dropping it, that's a lot of banners that were lost right there. So you're going to have some options. I want to show a quick clip of me inside of my Grand Arena. I was doing some brief testing up against Darth Revan, and I'm a little surprised that the win rates were as high as it was in the data I put together. But keep in mind, there were some low gear Revans, low gear missions, low gear Zaalbars in that data. I would assume with properly modded Revas. Why is Reva and Revan? They share too many of the same letters. With a properly modded Revan and crew, I don't think it's going to be as easy. Check this out. My Qui-Gon Jinn decided to try it out. Boom. Yeah. Fastest battle I think I've ever encountered. That was a serious battle. 3-4 seconds. Boom. I was done. No chance. But the cleanup afterwards was fairly manageable because Revan loses all of his bonuses that mission granted him. So I was able to think I brought in like a Padme team, quick, easy win, nothing too much to brag about in that regard. So that is a legit strategy if you don't have a Galactic Legend to spare. You don't have some of those top teams that we highlighted. You know, it might be feasible to be like, yeah, you know what? I'll take a quick L in this battle, make it a lot easier to clean this up. So folks, in our first week of experiencing the 3v3 Grand Arena with the Zaalbar Omicron, I could say he's doing work. Is he invincible? No, but I think this is going to be a very awesome Omicron for a lot of people to have in their rosters if you're looking to just take full advantage of the whole Revan requirements and the Malik requirements. This is a banger way of doing so, my friends. Big fan of it. And again, the question comes, do you use this on offense? Do you use it on defense? As you can probably see in some of the numbers, it really depends. If you think your opponent's gonna just, they're gonna try to pussyfoot their way around. Oh, I'm scared. I'm a little kitty cat, and they're just gonna try to cheese their way and give you free points. Boom. If you think they're gonna throw a big Galactic Legend or a big non-Galactic Legend team, you throw it on defense. But if you're finding yourself maybe needing another powerful tool on offense that can cut through some big teams like Reva, for example, and maybe a lot of the other non-Galactic Legends teams, like, maybe taking out Zoris, Afras, things of that nature. You got that opportunity on offense. So really, it's nice seeing that you kind of have this Swiss Army knife of an Omicron, and I don't think it's 100% bulletproof which way you want to go. You have the opportunity of going either way. Myself, you want to take a look at what my opponents threw at mine? Let's go pull this up real quick. If we go take a look at my Grand Arena data from my past Grand Arena history. So both of my Grand Arena opponents, they ended up throwing Bo-Katan at my Darth Revan. And for me, that is a pretty big W for me. If someone's throwing a Bo-Katan on the Revan instead of on a Lord Vader, maybe on a Gungan team, maybe on Galactic Legend Ahsoka, which is what I've been doing a lot lately, to me, that's a big win for me. So I think I see him being a solid defensive team. Unless people try to get, like, if I start seeing Qui-Gon have a very successful win rate, that's maybe when I would reconsider bringing Darth Revan on offense. But right now, if people are going to throw big teams like that, for me, that is a very solid team to throw on defense. Darth Revan, that's what I got my plans and my eyes set on for right now. But people, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I've been having a blast in this Grand Arena season. Despite it being 3v3, it's been nice exploring and examining the power that Darth Revan and Zaalbar are bringing, and it just makes me feel more excited to get back into 5v5, the real Grand Arena experience, and see what this is going to look like when it comes to Karth Onasi. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing, and always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.
Great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.